Good morning, Facebook peeps. I am so excited to be with you this morning for the Hope to Hope conference. We are delighted to bring you some hope this morning. It will be a power-packed 4 days, and you better just get ready for some awesome sauce because this first speaker, I'm not going to waste any time. This first speaker is absolutely amazing. She is just, oh my gosh, she's quickly becoming one of my favorite people to listen to, Miss Aurea McGarry. Well,
Hey, I don't
she's
think there's a delay.
there's a delay, and it's just the way the app works. We just work with it and keep going.
Perfect. I'm trying to watch you on the Facebook as well to make sure that, I got me angled here. So let me know if you can hear me.
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you. So I would love for you to start by telling us, and I don't want you to be shy about it. I would love for you to tell us all your accolades and all your accomplishments so that people understand where you are now, because then we're going to talk about where you came from.
Oh, yes. No problem. And thank you, Kim, so much for doing this. This is exciting, and I'm so honored to be your very first speaker of the day for the next couple of days. I just found out you're going to be doing this. So my hat's off to you and doing all of this. So it's going to be exciting as well. And I love having any platform where I can let people, especially women in business, know that life happens and we have to keep going. I am nobody special. And I say that because God is no respecter of person. What he can do for me, he can do for anyone if you believe and just keep the faith. Is it easy? Not all the time. Half the time it's not easy, but it does get easier with practice. Once you realize that, oh, God's in control. If I let him have the reins and I become his co-pilot instead of trying to run the show, then it becomes much easier because on the really worst of the worst days, you know that he's got you. And you may not get the exact results you want, but you're going to get better results if you, and this is just what I do. I pray for God's perfect will in my life. I don't pray, God, do this, give me that. I need this now. It's like, okay, Lord, this is what I desire, but I want your perfect will. So tweak it, guide me, open doors, close doors. I'm your servant because I want to be servant to others. So I said that because that made a difference in my life. It made a difference when I was being abused by a domestic violence husband back in the day. It made a difference when my mother had cancer, my brother had cancer, then I got cancer. It makes a difference when you know it's not all about me and I'm not the one in control, that there is a bigger purpose and that all things can turn out for good. And in these days and time, we still question that. Okay, Lord, what on earth good can come from the tragedies we're seeing? And there is good, but there's always a time we need to grieve, take action, and do things about what happens. But ultimately, the joy and peace comes like, okay, Lord, you've got us. You've got my back. So I can make it through today. Now, I'll tell you about my story, but let me pause for a moment because I know we have a delay and you may have a question. So I'm getting this be live thing.
Oh, I'm so excited because here's the thing about Hope to Hope that I think you know already, but I want to make sure everyone listening knows. And that is, we believe in those vulnerable places, there can be great strength come out of it. And exactly what you're talking about is that you are being transparent and sharing those places that, things happen to us. I say this all the time. Things happen. Some things are inflicted on us and some things we inflict on us. But either way, we can get through them and God can turn them for our good. So I love what you're saying. I love it. Just keep going.
Okay, will do. Well, I know you have a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs listening in. And I like to let them know a little bit about my struggles, only because I know that they're going through struggles or have gone through struggles or about to go through a struggle. Because I learned a long time ago, we're either starting a crisis, in the middle of a crisis, or coming out of a crisis. And there's a lot of good in between. But we have to learn to live our life and be successful in the midst of chaos sometimes. And again, with women that I've dealt with a lot in my life, we definitely love to nurture, and we love to stop everything and nurture people around us, our family, and tend to put business on the back burner. I know I was definitely guilty of that. And it's not that we're guilty of it. It's our nature to say, you're more important than me right now. Your success or what you're going through is more important to me than my success right now. Men tend to keep making money, clocking in, no matter what happens. They just got that DNA that says, I'll deal with this after work, and they work. God bless them, and women, we try to be more like that. So in that case, I like to show people how I was able to do that, still keeping my big heart, nurturing everybody around me, but staying financially successful, because that's important. Because if you let go of that oxygen, who are you going to help? If you're broke and not successful, how are you going to help your favorite charities or your best friend that may need a helping hand financially down the road, or just anybody you want to help? So success is a good thing, and financial success is a great thing, because you can give so much more back if you have the wherewithal, the talents, and the skills to have that business in place. It's there for a reason and can be used for a good cause. And I always tell people, hey, if you don't need the money or need a 6-figure, 7-figure income, make one anyway and give it away. Give. And it's great that we can give elbow grease, but I'll tell you, I've never met a nonprofit, which are my passion, that didn't need cash money to run what they do, to help who they help, to cure disease that they're trying to cure, to feed the homeless. Unfortunately, it does take cash money. So money is a good thing, because money buys you choices.
And I think we have to check our mindsets on that, because I do think that, and sometimes, and I don't want to step on any toes, but sometimes coming from the church world, we have mistranslated things, even as kids, that you have to be poor to be godly, because, it's the poverty stricken that are humble, and it's the rich that are proud, but it's so not true. And you are exactly right. When we go through struggles, and every business has ebb and flow. We don't really like the ebb, but we appreciate the flow. But if you are getting into business, or even personal, like you're saying, into some struggles, if you do have money put aside, it makes it different to go through it, because the ones that are desperate for the money are the ones that need the money. Like, when it stops being about the money, we actually make more money.
It's so funny you said that, because I was just talking to some people yesterday and saying it's really hard and not a good place to be when you're trying to run your business in desperate mode. So I do talk to entrepreneurs about keeping that day job as long as you need it, because cash flow coming in makes you less desperate, and people can feel that desperation. You're just working out of, I've got to pay my bills this month, and I have to have this sale, or I have to make that lead, and it's not a fun place to be. So there's no shame in keeping a full-time job until you're able to let go of that branch more comfortably to be the successful entrepreneur that you want to be. And I always tell my clients too that working a day job or a night job, whatever, some job that gives you that paycheck, helps you get out there and meet people too. And you never know where your next client's going to come from, or your next customer. So being out there is great. A mistake a lot of entrepreneurs make is they sit at home at their home office, which is them and their computer, maybe a cat or a dog, and they're not out socializing. We get kind of buried in our social media, buried in our work, and before you know it, a week has gone by and we really haven't even gotten dressed and gotten out the door, where God can put somebody in your path to say, hey, here's somebody you need to know. So we got to get up, get out, get dressed. And if you can do that on a daily basis and have good time management, you'll meet more people and have better cash flow while you're waiting to make that transition to full-time entrepreneur.
Yes. And I think a lot of people get into the desperate mode and then they make permanent decisions in temporary circumstances. Like,
That's a great one. I like that.
and that's hard for anybody not to do. I mean, all of us have had times of being without, and all of us have had times of, having a lot, or most of us have if we're in business. And I think
Mhm.
that is something that if you step back, I don't want to make a sale because I need the money. I want to make a sale because you need what I'm offering. And I think there's a different way of doing business, which builds relationships, long term, sustainable relationships, when you don't run around with that desperate feeling. I mean, and it's hard when you're needing money, it's hard not to be that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's funny because I'm going to say two things and they might contradict each other. But with that long-term plan, entrepreneurship or business is a marathon, not a sprint. And we do need to take good plan of action, have a plan, have a focus, have a beginning, middle, and a destination. But on that note, there's got to be those times when you just jump in sometimes because you just feel that it's the right thing to do and you can't always take time to think about it for 6 months and work on a strategy because I'm very much the impulse person. When I get an idea, I say, okay, Lord, let's try it. If it's good, let it work. If it doesn't, just shut the door, but I'm going to jump in the pool. And that has worked well for me. So I want people to know, yes, have a great plan of action. This is not a entrepreneurship and business isn't, run on emotion and just try to wing it and on desperation and quit your job. It needs to be more planned out. But once you're on the path, there's those times you're going to say, I gotta just say yes to this, or I'm gonna try that. And if it doesn't work, it's okay. It's not the end of the world because I'd rather have tried and failed than not have tried at all. I mean, that's not a new quote. So back in the day, I'll know that. Well, you may not know. You have a whole new audience than I'm used to talking to. These are a wonderful group of your friends. So they may not know that I was born and raised in New York City, and my dad was a multimillionaire Greek tycoon, attorney, investment banker, and my mom was a cosmopolitan model who retired, of course, to raise a family in the 60s. Okay, now you probably know my age, but that's okay. So she was a full-time mom, and so I came from that wonderful household where we had everything we wanted. And I skated in Lake Plaza with Dorothy Hamill and Janet Lynn, and I was an athlete. We just had everything. My brother was a singer and songwriter, and it was great until I turned 15, and my dad was brutally murdered by what they think was the mafia. They don't know. It's never been proven. But he was about to, I think he was an attorney and stepped on some toes, and that was the end of him on his birthday. He was shot 3 times in the head, left on the side of the road for hitchhikers to find. And we went at 15, I was in ninth grade. My life went from having anything that I wanted to having nothing at all and having to move. And literally having to start working I started working in a restaurant, an Irish pub, because I wanted to make the most for my time out. And I knew I could make good money. And I put myself through the rest of high school, helped support my mom, and, learned then, as I look back, that I was a thriver from the beginning. I didn't take time when tragedy happens to have a breakdown at that moment. And I don't attest this to me. I think it's just something that was inside me because it happened so young that I didn't learn this anywhere. I didn't know about Tony Robbins and, Oprah Network or anything back in the day. It was just tragedy happened. My dad was just murdered and I went into survivor mode. What do I need to do now to keep my lifestyle, keep my private school, help my mom, pay the rent? And I just did it. And then, of course, 6 months later is when it started to sink in, when the dust settles. So that's okay. It's all right to be in survivor mode and pick up the pieces and make things happen. But at some point, you're going to have to stop and realize what happened and go through the grieving process. So that happened in that order, in that way. And long story short, that was my first experience of really bad obstacle and realizing that everything can be okay. It stinks at the moment. Your life can change drastically and you're going to be all right. So I was all right for that. Then went on to college and ended up marrying a preacher's son who I thought was going to be perfect. Long story short on that, it was 7 years of domestic violence and abuse. And I always like to let people know verbal abuse is abuse because it takes a massive amount of positive reinforcement to overcome one derogatory thing said to a human being. So I say I only got one black eye. That was one black eye too many, but the rest of it was so damaging inside. When you strip somebody's self-esteem, you take away family and friends, and you belittle them, and it's amazing. You don't think it can happen to you. That's a whole nother topic, why people stay in that. I'm not going to get into that now, but it happened to me, and I was able to escape. And the short version on how I escaped 7 years later with my then 4-year-old daughter was I got into direct sales just to have some of my own money and win a free car. And I did that in 1 year. Doing that, though, it was not easy street. It was not happy street. I love to give people hope that during that year I was trying to win a car. It wasn't to escape. It was just to have my own car and my own $5. But I was being abused emotionally and mentally every single day. But I got to where I needed to go. I was able to see the customers I needed to see. I had never done direct sales before. I went from being like a waitress and professional clown, an actress, singer, dancer, to running my own direct selling business. But there was a lot of support. Anyway, anybody can be taught anything. But what happened was earning money started building my self-esteem. It's amazing what that does to you when you start getting some recognition, earning some company prizes, realizing that, wow, I have value. It's not that money gives you value. It's that the fact I was able to earn it and not have to ask permission. Can I have $5 for something? My self-esteem started rising up, and within 1 year, I had enough money to put my daughter in private Christian school, which is what I wanted, and I won the car. And nobody in that unit had won a car. I was the first one. I was the least experienced. I didn't like women, and I didn't like makeup at the time, and I ended up doing Mary Kay. Many of you know that was a perfect idea. Let's do Mary Kay. Don't like makeup, don't like women, but I needed a car. So make perfect sense. But it ended up being so much. And I ended up loving women because I met the right women and good women. I was from show business, and it was a whole different world in New York City growing up in show business, and women just wanted to claw your eyes out and take your job. It's a totally different story. But I learned what real women, were really like. But what happened was I earned the car, which ended up being my getaway car. The moral of that part of my early life was never stop doing what you love. Never stop having hobbies that you love, being around people. Don't let anybody take you away and isolate you. So even during that really horrific time, I want whoever's watching to know you may be sitting alone right now saying, oh my gosh, where's my life gone? I'm not happy. I'm miserable. I'm not making what I earn. I've got somebody that's not treating me well. There's hope. If I can do it, you can do it. We have to stick together. My mom was my biggest supporter during that time and didn't even know half of what I was going through. So I want you right now to reach out. And by watching this, you're taking the first step. You're reaching out. You're plugging in. This whole next 3-4 days can give you so much hope. And you're going to know you're not alone. So my message right now to anybody out there is going through some horrific times, I want you to know you're going to come out the other end. You might get some more bad times. Actually, you probably will have more bad times. Probably guarantee it. But hopefully it won't be as bad as maybe you're going through now. I only went through one like really bad, murder, which was my dad. But it wasn't the end of obstacles, and it wasn't the end of having to deal with death either. But you keep going. So success gives you the self-esteem that you need to make good, solid choices for you and your family. And it really changed my daughter's life, that's for sure. And it changed my life because I was able to walk away and not look back. Even though I was stalked for a year, it was not easy. I wanted people a lot of times say, oh, Ray, of course you can do this because you've got a supportive husband and just this wonderful life. Really? It didn't start out that way. This is a long time coming. And then when I got divorced, then I got stalked. Then my mom dies of cancer, who was my best friend. I got, she was supposed to die in 2 weeks. So the minute I found out she had liver and lung cancer in the 90s, she lasted a few months and then was gone. Then I met the husband that I have now. We've been together 21 years, who's supportive and wonderful. But I didn't start out that way. And I was successful during the bad times, as well as just, of course, more successful, more happy during the good times now that I have a supportive husband. But you don't need anything in particular. You don't need what somebody else has for your life to be amazing. You don't need a wonderful Prince Charming husband or queen wife. You have everything you need right now to have whatever you want right now. If you just start going on that path right now. Stop thinking about, well, if I only had her life or his life or her connections or his connections. Stop thinking that way. Start doing what you want to do and plug into those people to see how you can collaborate and meet the people they know, like they're doing today watching us. This is really smart if you're watching this, because you're plugging into some people now that could be the next collaboration that takes you to exactly where you need to go. Stop thinking about all the reasons why you can't do it or shouldn't be able to do it. I haven't even gotten to the reason why I shouldn't be talking today, but I'm going to pause for a moment. So Kim, you can weigh in, because I know we have this delay, and then we'll go on to the next level in a moment.
Well, I have to tell you, I absolutely adore you. You are so right with everything you've been saying, and we always make an excuse. I think it's nature that we just come in and we don't have the right desk, so we can't work, and we don't have the right computer, and we don't have the right phone, we don't have the right mate, and we don't have the right house, and we don't have this, and we don't have that. But the truth is, it is all inside. All the things that you need to make connections, like you're talking about, is inside you. And when you stop with the excuses and you get connected in things like Hope to Hope, the doors just fling open wide for the possibilities. We met, just to back up for a second, you and I met when we were both speaking at Sean Thomas's event. I hadn't known Sean but like a week, and she asked me if I would come in to speak at Entrepreneur Her. And I am quick to accept opportunities if I think there are connections involved, but I had no idea I was going to make such an awesome connection even with you. I didn't know who the speakers were. I knew nothing. She said, I really want you to come in. And I said, well, I only have this time slot this one day. So I flew in that morning and I left that night. I mean, I didn't have time to do a whole lot of networking or anything else because I had a short window. But wow, I am so glad I took that opportunity, because that's where I met you.
Yeah, and you just made a really good point. Sometimes you just have to jump in, and you didn't have a big time slot, you didn't know what it was about, but you felt that I just have to do this and jump in. I don't know what's going to happen, but I feel this is right, and what harm could it do? But you did another thing that I also teach my clients, which 90% of them will never do, and that's you followed up. Because that was a couple of months ago you and I met, and you just following up with me now, inviting me to this, it means you remembered me, you remembered the connection. When the time was right, you reached back out. So the follow-up doesn't always have to be immediate. So I want people to know they learn a lot about, you've got to follow up in the first 48 hours. Well, sometimes that's just a light touch. Like, I'm so glad I met you. I don't know what's going to come of collaborating in the future, but I'm going to keep you in my eyesight. I'm going to follow you and support you in any way I can. And it could be weeks later, months later, years later, when you really make a connection, say, this is the right time for that. But never lose track of somebody that you really like, that you meet anywhere, and never say no to an opportunity when you're feeling that gut instinct that's saying, oh, I just need to go. Don't know why, but what's the worst thing that could happen,
Well, it didn't look real promising, as far as I wasn't going to have a lot of time. I had to fly from one event to go to that event and then leave that and go back to the event. So, I was really like stressed for time, but I did feel like that was what I was supposed to do. And like you said, I am so glad I did, because meeting you and Tracy Randall and like a whole slew of other people, including Sean, that was incredible. But oh, go ahead.
No, but I say the best things sometimes happen like that. The craziest things. It's just amazing.
But I do think that what you just said, too, is something that anybody watching who's in any kind of business whatsoever, follow-up is the key. And wealth is found in the follow-up, because if you're making connections with people, that's where you can build those relationships and, get to know what you do. Because I wasn't sure what anybody else did when I was there. I only heard a few minutes of everybody. I listened to everybody, but you just don't know what people are doing in a 10-minute slot or a 20-minute slot. And it's amazing to me, every connection from everything we do usually ends up being at least a friendship. May not be a business relationship even, but at least there's some commonality between us, because if we're both speakers, then we have that in common at least. And then to find out that you are a survivor of domestic violence also. You are, well, I won't spoil your stories, but we have a lot of similarities over our lifetime. And I love it because we are still here. You know, I turned 50 this year in January, and I celebrated, and I'm still celebrating. And people think that that's kind of silly, but they don't realize when I was in my 20s, it wasn't looking like I was going to survive to be 30. And so the fact that I made it to 50 is, I mean, that's a huge deal to me. If you listen to the whole story, you'll realize it's a big deal that I actually hit half a century. So
I love it. I love it. You have that in common.
But I love that about you, though, and I love the things that you teach because, you know, I don't know how to say this in a nice way, I guess, but some people talk about things as if they know success, and then there's people who talk about it and you know they know about success, and I believe that about you. I believe you talk from a place of knowing and not just parroting what someone else said. I think that you have lived the life. And it's important. It's important who you follow. It's important who you know, listen to their advice. But the advice of follow-up is, my goodness, that's one of probably my top 10. That if you follow up.
And Kim, you're right, because I always tell people, only take advice from people you would trade places with. And that goes on, I categorize that too, because you want to take your spiritual advice from somebody who is spiritually where you want to be. You want to take financial advice from somebody who is financially where you'd want to be. You know, entrepreneurship, whatever it is, there's not one person that you're going to know that's going to have advice on everything and be at the top of everything in their life, you know. So you need different people for different pieces of advice. So that's why I love people that log on to all the networking and these type of webinars, because they're going to learn from everybody today. A golden nugget, I bet, from every single person they hear from. And it's going to be everybody. We all have a different level of excellence and expertise in different arenas. So it behooves them to listen. Oh, she went through those struggles. That's where I am. And she got out this way. So I need that nugget today. Somebody else might come on later that's a multi-millionaire in a category and say, oh, wow, I need that financial advice. That was a really good financial tip. So enjoy that and take advice from people who are where you want to be. Never, you know, like parallel, or they're not where you are, at least. I remember one time I went to an event and this person got on stage that was teaching how to build your fan base on Twitter. So the first thing I do, I'm in the back of the room and I go into my Twitter, and I'm not real, you know, savvy on Twitter, just enough to be dangerous, just maybe 1,000 followers or so. And I see they have less followers than me. So I get up and I walk out, because I'm not listening to anybody that has less than what I have. You better be up there in the 50K realm. So I say, oh yeah, I want to know what you did and what you do. So that's always my rule of thumb. Did we freeze? Did I lose you? I'm going to wait and see if you send me a message. I think we lost each other. Wait a minute. Let me look. I might have to log back on. Uh-oh. Let me Facebook message Kim. Hold on. I don't see her anymore. I might have to log back on. Technical difficulties. Part of life. It's okay. If you're watching, send a comment. Can you see me or can you see Kim? Let me look at my website. Let me look at the Facebook. Please be patient. Let me see. I'm still waiting for a message. Kim, are you there? click for more info. I don't know if I should log off yet. Can somebody write a comment? Can you see me or can you see Kim? Thank you for your help. I got more good stuff coming up, so don't leave. I'm going to tell you something really exciting. You can hear this. Hang tight. I'll get Kim back. Come on, Kim. Seeing you, but not Kim. Thank you. Okay, Kim will come back in. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, I've got some really good juice to tell you after this. Kim, come back. Hold on. Okay, well, welcome and thank you for being here. I don't know. I have to log off. She's going to say she'll message me if I need to log off and log back in. Okay, hold on. She's probably having some kind of issue on her line. If you have any questions, if you can see me, go ahead and put some in the comment because I'll just take a moment while she's trying to log on if you have a question. Yes, Ray, could you keep talking? Yes, of course I'll keep talking. So anyway, we're talking about taking advice from people who are where you want to be. And that's always just a good rule of thumb. And I'm not going to tell you my whole really exciting news and story until I get Kim back. But if you have questions on that, if you've experienced that in your life, chime in. Go ahead and write in the comments. And I'm going to take this time, too, to share this on my wall real quick. Mine's Aurea McGarry. And I also have Aurea McGarry Productions on Facebook. So make sure you're following me. And I just shared it to my page so we can get some even more viewers. But yeah, follow me on social media because I love helping people. And I'm going to tell you why and why I shouldn't even be here speaking to you today as soon as we get Kim back. But I love helping businesses now celebritize themselves, get themselves on TV, media, radio, and really let the world know who you are. Because we're going to talk a little bit more when Kim comes back about how to do it and how to make sure your business is, on the road to where you want it to be. So then we can start getting you some media attention. You don't want to get media attention until you're ready. So that's just a quick tip. Yes, I can help you get ready, of course. So be thinking about, wow, could that be possible? I'm in the middle of doing my business and I really love what I'm doing. Could I get on TV with this, or could I start doing radio shows? And what a great way to build a bigger fan base and more customers, more clientele. And I'm talking if you're a realtor, a massage therapist, a dog groomer, a travel agent, anything you are, you could be a contributor on television and radio, giving your advice, giving your knowledge. There's no reason why you shouldn't be doing that. So let's get you ready for that if you're not already. So either way, tap into me. Go ahead and friend me on Facebook under Aurea McGarry, or like my fan page, Aurea McGarry Productions on Facebook. And I'm on all the social media under Aurea McGarry. But let's see if you have any questions. I'm going to go over here. What if you don't have a lot of followers, or how do you get the followers if you have a lot of friends? Cheryl Jennings, that's a great question. When Kim comes back, we're going to talk about social media. She's amazing in social media. I never claim to be the social media expert because I'm not. I know enough to be dangerous, enough to be successful, but I don't have the millions in viewership yet. But I have enough that really keeps me busy because the ones I have are quality in my demographics. So instead of having a whole bunch of just a lot of people, I have all the right people that need what I have to offer in a great tight community. And we help each other, we support each other. So it's a really high value group, and I'm always looking to expand. So I've learned that the key to expanding your fan base is consistency. I'm about to start a YouTube show now to show consistency. YouTube is a great place to really get the word out and outside your box, outside your normal people that follow you on Facebook or those type of more closed places where they have to be your friend, and like LinkedIn. YouTube, the world can see you. So I've learned that it's better to do some kind of YouTube show, some kind of YouTube platform, and do it 2 or 3 times a week, every single week, week in, week out, rather than opening it up and posting every now and then. People need to know consistency, what you have to offer, and what you do consistently. So, and giving value. Always remember, on social media, people make the mistake of selling. So it should be the 80-20 rule. on any social media platform, give 80% of value, answer questions, make good comments, give tips, give valuable education in your industry. And then 20% of the time, like once a week, twice a week, depending how often you're posting, you can offer a special. Tell them about your website. Tell them what you have for sale, services, products, you're a speaker, whatever it is. But make sure you're giving value. Join conversations. And trust me, when you join other people's conversations, they notice. When was the last time you gave a really good comment on somebody's post? And hold on. And a post that is in your industry. So follow people that could be your clients or also your peers. So making those good comments and giving a value has people say, "Oh, I like what he or she said. That makes sense." Now they're going to go and want more of you. So that's that 80-20 rule. Give value, give conversation, answer people's questions. So many times on social media, we're just hitting like, or not at all. And there's never a good comment or a good tip, or disagree with somebody. That's fine too. Disagree with a comment. Say, "I have a different point of view." It really engages you. I'm really worried about Kim now. She's not back. So let me see. Kim, what do I need to do? Let me see what I need to do. I don't want to log off because then I'll log her off. I'm messaging her. I want her to come back. Okay, let's see. Well, you guys have questions? Irina. Hi, Irina. Do you believe in organic ways of building your audience and fan base, or do you use online advertisement? Mine is completely organic. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. Somebody else may come on in these next 3 days, say they had some great ways and companies and ways to get a whole bunch, but that's great. I'll be listening the next couple of days as well. Mine is organic, but it's not at the 100,000 mark. So I'm open to ideas on how to get it higher. I know that when I did my YouTube and I did my TV show, I organically got over 10,000 views because I did a TV show on Ron Clark Academy. And when I tagged him, he was very popular at that time because he was doing all this inauguration with the president. Oprah just, gave him money. So he was a hot topic. So everybody that logged on looking for Ron Clark or Ron Clark Academy found my video and found my TV show, which was great. So if you're doing things that are hot topics, tagging is really important. And I do teach that in my media workshops and in everything I do with media, how to tag properly, how to get the attention of the people and the TV shows and radio shows that you need and that need you, and the audience that needs you as well. So tagging, doing all that's real important, and you can do it organically. And whenever there's help out there, just be really good at finding good help, because I know there's a lot of scams out there. And there's a lot of money you can waste trying to get followers fast. There's a lot of things going on all over the world that are fake followers and don't help. And I've learned in algorithms, fake followers is worse than a small amount of good followers, because if they follow and never engage, that can be worse for your algorithm than a smaller group of people that are very active and engaging and liking what you do and talking to you. Again, I'm not the social media expert. That's just my take on that. And I've done everything I'm doing organically, but open to new things for sure. Thank you, AT&T. We can continue to hear you. Oh, AT&T. Yay, AT&T. I'm glad, but I want Kim to come back. Thank you for your questions. This is great. The fact that I'm even able to talk to you is definitely a miracle. Kim was talking about happy to make it to 50. I was definitely happy when I made it to 40, because on my 38th birthday, I almost died. I almost had my last day at 38 years old. And when Kim comes back, I'll tell you what happened if you don't know. And I'm going to give you the biggest no excuse that you're ever going to hear, that's going to really, I hope, catapult you to success. And start thinking, yes, I can. Because if I can be doing what I'm doing, which I totally should not be doing, you can do it too. Whatever your goal is, whatever your dream is, whatever your big award in your industry is, it's possible. It's definitely possible. Because I'm going to give you no excuses in a moment. And technical difficulties, also no excuse. Try things. If you have technical issues, whether it's online or if it's in life, it happens, and we just keep bouncing back. It's okay. All right, let me see. Kim is trying to get back on. We're having a bad storm in Texas. If you could just keep going, that'll be great. Wonderful. All right, well, since Kim's having a storm in Texas, I'm going to go ahead and tell you why I'm going to give you hope now, and I'm going to give you that big cannonball of no excuses. When I was 38, I was diagnosed with cancer. For a full year, 6 doctors misdiagnosed me. I was having really bad chest pains, and by the end of the year, I really couldn't breathe well, and it was scaring my husband, my Prince Charming husband, who I just adore. He wasn't going to let me suffer and not find out why. If I was still married to my abuser, he would have said, one doctor said you were fine, you're done, and I would have died from neglect, from an undiagnosed, curable disease. They found that I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. On my 38th birthday, I was in the doctor, and as a matter of fact, it was a storm in Florida. Huge storm was coming, and everything was closed, except my doctor wanted me to come in. And I was thinking, oh, he likes me. That's so nice of him to have me come in. Really, it was because he was about to tell me I have cancer, and he couldn't wait. So they opened up the doors that day, even though the sky was black as it could be. But I had hope, because I told you in the beginning, God is my pilot. So I didn't have fear. I had more of, okay, what's next? I had no idea. The next day I was going to be at a convention with Zig Ziglar, the former President Ford, Tony Dungy, all these people in the Tampa Stadium, because we were helping Zig Ziglar host it, because he always used Mary Kay directors to be his host in all his cities. So I was standing right next to Zig Ziglar when I got the call that said, come in, we have to open you up and do surgery tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. And we need you now to prep. So I hung up the phone. I'll never forget. Zig Ziglar was there, and he prayed for me, and he said, you're going to be fine. And that was the last time I saw him. But what an inspiration Zig Ziglar was to me. If you're not following Zig Ziglar, do. Amazing, amazing, amazing inspiration. Great in sales. And we're all in sales in some form or another. Whatever you do, you're selling. Whether you're selling yourself or selling a business or selling service or product, do follow Zig Ziglar. Even though he's since passed away, his programs are still up and his books are still fabulous. So I went in the next day, everybody praying for me. I felt the peace. And I had to sign a piece of paper that said, you give us carte blanche to do whatever we have to do once we open you up. And they were about to open up my entire chest cavity because they knew it was in there, but they didn't know what was going on. I had a needle biopsy right here because they thought it was started here in my thymus, but nothing showed up in the biopsy. So fast forward, I wake up from surgery. I had tubes coming out of my throat, out of my stomach. And the doctor proceeded to tell me I have good news and bad news. The good news is we found the cancer. It's non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It's curable. Chemo will sweep up the rest and you'll be fine. The bad news is, and you have to remember before I tell you the bad news, I was a direct selling teacher coach driving a pink Cadillac, training for a living in 1999, before we had emails really cranking and social media. So everything I did was in person and on the phone. And he proceeds to tell me that your cancer started in your thymus gland, which is like right here. So we removed your thymus gland, but it spilled over. So we had to do what we call debulking. So they removed the lining around my heart, half my left lung, part of my right lung, disconnected half my diaphragm, and they had to remove the left thoracic nerve to my vocal cord. And they told me, you'll never speak again above a faint whisper. It will be impossible, because we didn't disconnect that. We had to remove that vocal cord nerve. But you're curable. So have a nice day. And they left me like that. And in that moment with tubes coming out of my throat, I certainly couldn't talk, but I could pray. And I had so many loved ones around me at that moment in the ICU. And I just remember thinking and praying, okay, Lord, you're either going to show me how to live my life without a voice. And people have it worse. I'd rather be me than a child. We can do this. And I'm going to live a very productive, wonderful, blessed life because I'm curable. And if I don't have a voice, then I don't have a voice. And we'll just do whatever we have to do. You're in control. And I didn't mind having that obstacle. Again, I'd rather be me than my daughter or somebody else's child. So we can do this. And then I prayed, okay, Lord, you can heal my voice. And you don't need my vocal cord nerve to do that. So I'm going to believe in my miracle and total restoration. And if I get it, great. But I'm not going to hang my happiness or my success on if I get that. We're going to move on anyway. And that was my prayer. And everybody was praying around me for total restoration. People that had even more faith than me were saying, Lord, healer, restoration, fully recovered. But meanwhile, I couldn't talk for, I'd say 2 years. It might have been a little longer, a little shorter, but I talk like this. This was all I could do. Literally was so traumatic, and it was such a struggle, but I had a good attitude, said, okay, I'll deal with this, and went on with my life, moved to Atlanta, knew no one, won another pink Cadillac, continued my business. There was things I could do, things I couldn't do the phone work anymore. It's okay. Adjusting the sale. I didn't adjust where I was going and my goal. I just adjusted how I got there. So kept on keeping on. So I want to give you hope. I don't care what your struggle is. I mean, I do care, but whatever your struggle is, it could be monumentous like mine was, but you can do it. You're just going to find a way or make a way, and have faith and hope and be open to miracles. So not only did I have the surgery, I take surgery any day of the week over chemo. I started chemo about 2 or 3 weeks later, and chemo almost killed me. Chemo was so detrimental to my body. For 6 months, every 3 weeks, on that chemo day, I threw up 18 times a day for 10 days straight. I had to be hospitalized. That's how sick I was. They thought I was going to die from the chemo. Imagine being curable in the cancer, but chemo almost killing you. So another struggle to overcome. And we did. And again, lots of prayer and lots of IVs and lots of potassium drips, but we made it through. And then to go on, and here's the big kicker to give you hope. Again, remember, God's no respecter of person. All I had was the faith and the tenacity to say, let's keep going. Let's move on. These are my cards. I'll play them. I never had that, oh, why me, Lord? It's always, why not me? Okay, I got the cards. I've dealt with bad things before. We can do this. My life's going to be different, but it's going to be fantastic in a different way, and that's okay. They always called me Tigger. I always bounce back, no matter what the cards are. So now moving forward, a couple of years later, maybe 2 years, my voice starts getting a little stronger, then a little stronger. Then I start still sounding like a chicken, but that's okay. I get this idea. I wrote my book, I Won't Survive, I'll Thrive, and I went on a book tour. Now remember, rewind, I come from New York City, singer, dancer, actress, soap operas. I love the theater, I love TV. That was my training. I went to the New York City Academy of Theatrical Arts. I graduated high school at 16 to go audition for Broadway, and I was in the mix, and I just loved all that. I wanted to win an Academy Award someday. I wanted to be on the couch of Johnny Carson back in the day. That was my little girl dream. I wanted to be able to say, I'd like to thank the Academy. So now I go on this book tour, and I'm on TV and I'm on the news, but I'm always following these terrible news stories. I mean, this was back in 2007, 2008-ish, and it was right before Christmas, and there was this shooting of this husband went to his ex-wife's house and shot her and the kids and himself. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I remember praying, Lord, I know there's more good people in this world doing good things than bad people shooting people up. I just know it. But they're always getting the news because that stuff is news. So I got the idea right then. I remember I was in Texas, as a matter of fact. And I said, Lord, I want to do a TV show and spotlight good people doing good things. Didn't know how, didn't know who, didn't know anything, did not have a plan. I just knew in my heart I wanted to do that and use my theatrical training and my ability to love TV and love being on the stage and not be afraid of it to do that as a TV show. And at this point, I really did sound like a chicken. I was not sounding good yet, but I said, what the heck? I'm going to do it anyway, because it's not about my voice and how it sounds. It's about the message and the people I give hope to. So I wanted to give a platform to nonprofits because a lot of them don't like to speak in public, don't know how to speak in public. I want to be their voice. I want to tell their story. Again, celebritizing them. So I went home and I told my husband, and I said, I want to do a show. I want to interview great people doing great things. And so we started that, and I think I'm just getting a email from Kim now. She wants me to close down. We're going to start part 2. So don't go away. I'm going to tell you what happened, because something amazing happens, and I'm going to tell you that in part 2. So I'm going to log off. She's telling me something before I log off. I'm watching her little message right now. I'm going to tell you what happened when I got that idea to the TV show, the obstacle and the reward at the end. And now you could do this too. And whatever it is you're thinking you want to do and wondering, could I? I don't have this. I don't have that. Don't have these tools. I don't have a plan. I'm going to tell you something in a second. As soon as Kim tells me what to do, if I should be logging off, she's saying log off. Whenever you come to a stopping point. Okay, so now I'm going to log off because I'm going to leave you with a cliffhanger. Okay, you're going to have to come back to hear the rest of it. So I'm going to bring Kim back. So I'm going to log off. Don't go away. I will be right back. All right, here we go. I'm going to try logging off. Wish me luck.